Hello there. I wanted to come on and talk to you a little bit about the assignments that you'll be working on for this coming week. I know your last essays have just come in, and now it's time to start on something else. That's the sad part of summer courses and composition courses in general, really. It's the same way if you take it during the regular semester. So this week we'll be working on comparative writing. You have some readings on that. We engage in comparison all the time, whether you really think about it or not. When you're looking at two jobs, two cars, what to wear, what to have for breakfast, you engage probably in a little bit of a comparative exercise. Please do be aware that whenever you are comparing, you're not just looking at similarities. You're looking at similarities and differences. Now, a comparison is most useful when it highlights surprising similarities about objects that appear to be totally different, or surprising differences between two things that appear to be the same. You've got a great example of comparative writing in your readings for this week, Grant and Leah Study in Contrast by Bruce Catton. This is a fairly well-known essay written by that historian, and while your comparison won't be anything like his, I don't expect anything like his. Looking at how he compares the two generals and what his purpose is in that comparison may be helpful for you as you think about your ad comparison, which will be the essay that we're working on this week. For your ad comparison, what you're going to be doing is using the ad that you picked out earlier, and then you're going to pick out an ad for a different product that's in the same category. So, if you did Geico car insurance, maybe you could go get Nationwide or another brand of car insurance. And so what you want to do is look at how those two advertisements target their respective audiences. I've given you an example in Blackboard. I have two print ads. You cannot use my ads. No, absolutely not. I've already done a lot of the heavy lifting for you, so you can't use my ads. But I've put two print ads in Blackboard along with a sample outline of a comparative essay about them. So a couple things I want to mention about these comparative essays. First off, you've got two ways to organize them. You can go with block or alternating format. Block format is, let's say that we're talking about points of comparison between apples and oranges. So in block format, you would talk about point A, B, and C all about apples, and then you would talk about point A, B, and C all about oranges. In alternating, which is where we switch up, we go point by point, you would talk about characteristic A for apple and orange. Then you would talk about characteristic B for apple and orange. Then you would talk about characteristic C for apple and orange. Neither one of these organization methods is really right or wrong. I will say that students tend to prefer point by point or alternating because you end up writing a little bit less, and that tends to be a winner with students in freshman composition. I don't blame you. I have no fault with it. I find it a little bit easier to keep up with alternating format myself. Block format I find works better when you only have maybe 2 points of contrast. If you end up in 3, 4, 5, that's when you want to work with point by point. Now, that said, you don't need to look at a whole lot of points for this essay. I would rather you focus on just a couple things and do a thorough job discussing not just how the attributes are similar or different, but what is important about that. So if I talk about apples and oranges, and I want to talk about the orange bumpy skin versus the smooth red or green skin, then I need to talk about why that matters. So maybe I'm going to talk about the fact that that orange bumpy skin can be zested into something, while apple skin, you don't really do much with it unless you make apple chips out of it. So you need to talk about why it's important. I give you some much better examples than apples and oranges in the sample outline that I did for my two ads for Axe and Old Spice. So you can check that out to get some ideas. Another thing I wanted to mention, a thesis statement with a comparative essay. Please, 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 do not have a thesis statement that says something along the lines of the ads are similar yet different. That does not tell your reader something important. You need to at least outline the categories of similarity and difference. I mean, so if we can say that really any two things are similar yet different. I and a filing cabinet are similar yet different. We are similar in that we are both 5 feet tall and contain information, but one is made of metal or wood and I am not. See? Similar yet different. Doesn't really tell your reader anything. So make sure that you have a specific thesis. So this week I'm going to ask you, instead of submitting drafts, to submit an outline. And I'm asking you for a sentence outline. With a sentence outline, you give a complete sentence for your thesis and for each of your topic areas. And once again, I've given you an example. I know examples are very helpful. I would typically outline this essay together as a class if we were in a classroom setting. So I've kind of jumped right to it and given you a sample outline that I've shared with some students in other English 111 classes. So I hope you find that helpful. So those are the big things this week. Try not to stress yourself out. I know that we're moving at a quick clip. I will get your essays back to you as soon as I can. I'm a little bit behind in grading for one of my other classes, so I'm trying to get them caught up, and then I'll get back to your essays as quickly as possible. As always, if you have questions, please get in touch. I talked about the Writing and Reading Center information in our last video. Those modules are there. I'll get the quizzes up in the next couple days. So again, if you have questions, get in contact. Do not suffer in silence. Do not struggle alone. And I do highly recommend that you get help at the Writing and Reading Center or use the Online Writing Lab, especially for this assignment. This is where things start to get a little bit more complicated. This one and then the next assignments are some places where students typically will kind of bite the bullet and go get some help. So please do that if you need to. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you all can rest and relax. I will be grading around the clock all weekend, but that's the life of a teacher in summer session. Take care, and I'll be back with another video for you soon.